Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 256 at scavengerlife.com on the road.
Okay, so last week we did not do kind of our weekly update. We instead posted an interview with our friend Jim.
Yes.
Who did a really good job kind of explaining investing to me,
Scavenger investing.
To me, because I was still very kind of gun shy over investing, but the idea of just doing index funds is interesting.
Yeah, I think he explains it very well, and he does so on his blog all the time, so you should check out his blog too.
And we know that that kind of topic is a little bit, maybe a little strange for scavengers, because it's not specifically about scavenging and eBay, but I think we wanted to start kind of talking about this stuff because this is what we talk about amongst ourselves. I mean, we've been scavenging and selling eBay since 2008. The first goal is always just pay our bills.
Right.
And for many of you hearing us, maybe you're just starting out, maybe it's what the goal is. How do I quit is my job and pay is my bills?
Yeah.
So I get that. But, there are others of you who are probably like us that have figured out how to do this.
Yeah.
And you've created this pipeline, money's coming out, you've covered your bills, and now you're making extra cash on top of that.
It's called profit.
Yeah, and what do you do with that,
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Right.
And so our first thing was, well, let's buy real estate.
Yeah.
And that's what we talked about.
Buy and renovate real estate that becomes a business.
Right.
I mean, it's not just real estate for fun.
Right. So we're doing that. We did one that is being rented. We bought another house that we're fixing up and we're going to rent that. But you know what? Now we're talking, well, we don't want to buy infinite number of houses.
Right.
There comes to a point where, for us at least, it feels like we could have too much real estate where it starts feeling like a job that we
burden.
Don't want. Yeah. So then our question is, so what do you start doing with that extra money after that?
Right.
And
pay off debt.
Pay off debt.
Clearly.
Very true.
That's number one.
Yep. So pay off any debt we have. And the debt we have is we have no consumer debt.
Right.
What we have is a mortgage.
Mortgage debt.
Yeah. So, it's the best debt to have.
Really?
I don't know if that's true. But
it's definitely the lowest interest rate debt you can have right now.
Right.
That's for sure.
Well, I mean, it's a debt that you have, but you also have an asset.
Sure,
if you just have consumer
credit card debt
and it's just like, I have all this debt, I don't have anything to show for it.
Right. Except a new iPod that you bought with your credit card.
I didn't do that. Don't say you as in me. I would never.
Oh, not you. I
would never do that.
I just meant in general. Like you buy things with your credit card, but
clothes and shoes. Okay, so pay off our debt, but then beyond just paying off debt, now we're thinking, okay, well, those of you who are in our kind of position where, I mean, we're all living without a net, where there's no 401k, there's no pension plan.
Yeah.
I mean, we just have the money we make selling stuff online. Yeah. And so the idea would be start investing in index funds. It's almost like you're making it your own IRA and your own 401k.
Because that's what they do. I mean, that's what the 401k, you put it in there and they decide what they want to do with it.
And that's why we like Jim, because, he's part of that community where that's all they talk about. They talk about early retirement. They talk about financial independence. You know, and they're the ones running the numbers and figuring out how to do it all. Yeah. And so, and it kind of intersects with what I feel we're all doing because it's all about getting control of your time.
Yeah, so absolutely.
So what we're doing is, is ready for this. We're scavenging knowledge from another community.
That's true.
We're like going around, digging around, taking little nuggets.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I think that that community and our community intersects very well. Intersects on lots of points. Like, if you read Mr. Money Mustache, he's all about being thrifty. He's more thrifty than us. How I don't even know how that's possible because I'm eating ramen, for lunch on vacation. But
because you enjoy it.
I also enjoy it. Yeah. Yes, I actually quite like ramen.
I don't make you do that.
No, but I'm saying there's a thriftiness in us that we can't let go of, and we like better. But so it's interesting to see those other communities and be like, they're a lot like us.
Yeah, I mean, it's doing, to like boil it down, and this will be very buzzwordy. They're hacking money.
Yeah.
In the sense that they're like, okay, I'm making money through my job or whatever.
Right.
And so how do I have my money make cash?
Right. So I don't have to have this job forever.
Right. And so that's a great way to think about it. Number one is just don't spend it. So if you don't spend it, you're keeping more money.
Yeah.
And then number two, you can either invest it in real estate, because then it's making money, or put it in these index funds that we've talked about.
Right.
Where those make its money over time.
Or you just bury it in a tin in the backyard.
Or if you believe that the zombie apocalypse is really going to happen and society is going to collapse, then you need to invest in guns and bunker.
My mom says guns and whiskey.
Yep.
And tobacco.
Yep. So those are things, but for the most part, that's it. So anyway, so I just wanted to kind of start with that, like when we are on these extended trips, like we're away from home for a month, we're about halfway through our trip here. We always start kind of talking about this kind of stuff. We take these walks through these neighborhoods we're in. Yeah. We're kind of in a different place, so everything feels new. Yeah. And we can like talk about our master plan.
Right. So, I mean, one part of it is like we like to explore cities through thrifting, because normally if you're a tourist, you like walk downtown, and where we are right now, Bend, Oregon, they have a great downtown. It's very happening, but also, we're not very good consumers. Like, we don't want to buy anything, really. And so going...
Or go eat places.
Yeah, like, I want to go eat places, but I don't want to spend those prices. So I'm like, I'll just eat at home. So it's been fun, like, scavenging to see other parts of town. Like, we went into this thrift store in Bend, and the guy was like, obviously he knows everyone that comes in there all the time. And he's like, I've never seen you, but he literally said that. I've never seen you guys before. We're like, we're visiting. He's like, oh, okay. It's just funny because, you get to see like the people who live here.
And we've talked about this, it's before, like being in Amsterdam, like when you're scavenging in a place, it takes you to different parts of town that you would never go. Normal people
Why
don't
would
go
you
to
go
visit.
there?
So I mean, this guy asked us where we were from, and we started talking to him. I started asking him all his questions, and we started to learn a lay of the land here, And, we've been to, and this is true in Bellingham, too. We got to learn about where estate sales are. So, you start going to these neighborhoods and seeing the insides of people's houses. And, meeting the neighbors of the people there. And you just start getting the feel of the area, and it's fun.
I think what's interesting too is like to come to Bend is a smaller town, although it's way bigger than our town. It's about 10 times larger than where we live.
Even more, so there's 80,000 people here. There's 5,000 people.
I thought it was 50,000 here.
It's 80.
Oh, it's 80. Jeez, this place is large. So we were looking at real estate prices because we wanted to know how much stuff was around here. And we went to an estate sale yesterday and saw the real estate sign on the yard, and it was like, this is how much this house is going to be. And I was in shock at how expensive houses are here. So that house was about to be for sale for $900,000, basically $1 million.
Right. But that was actually in a pretty nice, I would probably say that was probably one of the
nicest neighborhoods.
The nicer neighborhoods.
Right near downtown.
And we know that because we've kind of been all around town for scavenging. But like the house we're renting, it's in a really small house. It's probably 1,000 square feet?
It's probably 1,000 square feet, yeah.
And we were like, and it's an old house, but it's been
probably from the 40s.
So we're like, I'm thinking, it's probably like 150,000 or something.
Right, totally.
It's over $300,000.
It's worth almost $400,000. Yeah. I was in absolute shock.
So the only reason why we're bringing this up is this conversation comes up on it's blog quite often. People in the comments will be like, I can't believe you're getting stuff so cheap. Where I live, stuff is very expensive, And I think very often when things are very expensive in a place, it means they just live in an expensive place, period.
Expensive areas.
I mean, I know it's very extreme to say this, but I feel like if we were to live in a very expensive place, I mean, the idea is to move where things aren't expensive, you know?
Well,
Like,
we
I mean,
did live. The thing was, we lived in expensive places. I lived in Boston, New York, San Francisco.
Right.
We lived in those places, and we were like, it's too expensive here.
I mean, it's almost like the ultimate part of being a scavenger is scavenging a home.
Yeah.
Or scavenging land, or scavenging a community where you're finding a community that has everything we could want.
Right.
That has a really great way of life, but it's really cheap.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of like going, if you think of like America as a thrift store,
Right.
you're like going to the part of the country or the part of the thrift store where people
aren't looking.
a look, and
Yeah.
you try and find the areas that are really cheap.
Right.
And that's kind of what we did. Granted, where we live does not have 18 breweries and 300 restaurants
And coffee shops that every single coffee shop, roast their own beans.
It's super awesome.
Yeah.
But I guess we have to balance. I mean, we can do a lot of that stuff at home.
Right.
You know?
And we do.
And what we can do is we can then travel to these places, stay for long enough to enjoy it, and then just go back home.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, you know, I know that sounds extreme, like what, I should move, but really, if you're embracing scavenging as a way of life, and you live in a place where it's so expensive, like if you owned a house here and it was worth $300,000, and you could sell that house and move to where we live, buy
a house for half that,
20 acres and a house for like $200,000, and still have another $100,000, you know, left over.
Yeah, it just. Well, it's funny when people say where they live, everything's expensive, and we go to the thrift stores here, and we're like, everything is priced way too high.
Right.
Like, we went up to the counter at this thrift store, and I had a pair of socks, and we had this, like, wrapping saran wrap stuff that you use for Amazon, like a tiny 1/4 of a roll, and I had $1 in my pocket. That was all I had. So I figured he's going to be like 50 cents, 50 cents, yeah, it's $1. He's like, how about $2 each? And I'm like, basically, I said, I have $1. And he was like, okay. But it's just funny. You're like, why would you think that this was worth $2?
Well,
That's crazy.
I'm going to kind of go against you a little bit. I mean, I can hear Omfug or Sue.
Yeah.
You know, because she lives where we are right now. I'm not sure exactly where, but she lives in it's Northwest, and she talks about things being really expensive. And it's kind of a newer part of the country. I mean, this is the part where there's hundreds of years of accumulated wealth. But, you know, we're still finding stuff. I mean,
we did still find stuff,
We've only been in this town for 5 days.
5 days, yeah.
And we are sending a whole box home, and then we're sending
50-pound box to Amazon.
Right. So, you know, we rented a place, and it's one reason why we love to rent a house is because we had like a shipping room, which we'll talk about, but, you know, we had plenty of stuff. And I feel like what it does take, though, is, you know, you got to get into it. I mean, you know, we've spent quite a bit of time scavenging and going to places and things being like, yeah, things are overpriced, but
here's this thing that's overlooked.
A little corners. Wow, this stuff was $1. This is this, you know. So, you know, and it means it's all about selling anything, too.
Right,
like,
being willing to sell that stuff.
You know, so I don't know. I feel like you can always find stuff places if you're willing to break out of your normal patterns. And, you know.
And, like, if you put a limit on the price. Like, we went to an estate sale yesterday, and I was like, I'm not buying anything over $4. Like, it's overpriced. And we didn't.
When do we ever pay more than $4?
No, but I mean, I just was like, I'm looking for $1 and $2 items. That's it.
Yeah.
And I found them.
Yeah, we found, like, it's glasses and some patches.
And a belt buckle with a leather belt for $2.
Some vintage wool baseball caps. And, you know, I mean, it's like, I think wherever you go in America, there is waste that you can buy affordably.
Yeah.
It just means you might have to look a little harder, and it means you may have to be willing to sell things that's outside of what you feel comfortable with.
Right, exactly.
That's all. I mean, just to wrap this part of it up, my whole point with, like, it's moving somewhere cheap is simply, if you're trying to be a full-time scavenger and if you live in an expensive place where your costs are high, it just means that you have to work that much harder to live there.
Right.
So
exactly.
that's all I'm saying. Okay, so let's talk about eBay.
Yeah, eBay.
So I was saying on the blog that this was turning out to be our slowest week. And that's after we just had our slowest week. So
slower than the slowest week.
You know, part of it is we're like on work, kind of a work vacation, so eBay's a little bit hands off because we're not
shipping.
Yeah, and we aren't really thinking of it quite as much. But I looked and I was like, we didn't sell anything in either of our eBay stores for 3 straight days. That's
never happened.
I can't remember that ever happening.
Yeah, that was really bad.
And then, starting, I think, about Wednesday, things started to
sell a little bit.
And I was like, whoa, thank God. You know.
I did change our handling time from 20 business days to 15 business days. But I was having so much trouble with the bulk editor. It took me 2 days to do it.
Because it just
would give me errors. It wouldn't complete the task. If you guys have used that bulk editor before, it says processing, X amount out of 500 listings, and it would just stall at 499 listings.
Yeah, I really, Dan was talking about how to do that. I think it was Dan with the bulk. And I wish that eBay would just allow you to change your entire
everything
store
on once,
without having to go through 500 at a time.
It's insane. It's really ridiculous.
But that's probably just their own
database
infrastructure.
Yeah. So the amazing thing is that we've been sending messages to people telling them when we were going to start shipping, and not one person has canceled.
Yep.
So far.
I'm amazed because normally, especially at the beginning of these long trips.
Right, when it's 30 days.
People are like, what? I have to wait 30 days?
Yeah.
No one has canceled yet. And we've had about 5 buyers write back and they say, no problem.
Have a great trip.
Have fun.
Which is so funny.
I'm just like, again, I just want to remind people, I know free shipping and next day is like, people enjoy that. But if you're selling things that are difficult to find, people are willing to wait, So it seems. Yeah.
So Amazon FBA, we're still trying to figure out how to do the numbers.
Yeah, so someone has been really working hard with me to figure out how to, on Amazon, you can export out this file and then import it into, Excel, or I do Google Sheets. But then it doesn't actually put it in separate columns to get the exact numbers. It puts everything in one column. Anyway, it's frustrating.
Yeah. So, anyway.
But I will say this: Amazon's been doing very well for us.
Yes.
Like this past week, we've made a net profit probably of about $500,
which helps a lot.
And over the past 2 weeks, our next payout is May 2nd. We're going to get about $1,000. So that's awesome.
Right. That's not bad. It's hard to find things to sell on Amazon that sell for $50 to $100+ It's hard.
But that's what has been. But it shouldn't be a surprise to us, because that's what we tell people on eBay.
Yeah.
Don't sell things for $10. Right. Sell things for over $50. Right. But on Amazon, for some reason, mentality is hard to teach ourselves, because it's so easy to find things that will sell for $10 on Amazon.
Scan monkey.
It's hard but we have been.
We have.
And so that's why we've been making more money, because we've been selling more $100 items.
Right.
That, again, only cost us under $10.
Right.
It just means they're harder to find.
So we just mentioned a minute ago that we have a 50-pound box going, 46 pounds to be exact, going to Amazon. And the only way we are able to do that is we kind of took a page out of the book of Resale Rabbit, because he travels and does Amazon, although he brings a printer with him.
Well, there's a group of guys that it seems like are on YouTube, and they make these videos where they travel around, and they have a car or a van, and they travel around buying things at thrift stores, and then they go to a hotel or a motel, and then they pack everything.
Yeah.
And so that's what we were like, well, let's try
that. But the crux for me was, we're traveling via plane mostly.
So we don't have a printer.
We don't have a printer. I'm not going to bring my laser printer.
So what do you do as a scavenger?
Okay, this is what I did. I went on the local Craigslist before we even got to Bend. Right. And I was like, I bet there's someone selling a laser printer for cheap.
Not an inkjet printer.
Not an inkjet, because you actually can't use an inkjet for doing the Amazon labels. They tell you not to.
I agree.
Otherwise, I would have found one of those.
By the way, you did this all on.
I did this, and I
didn't even know this was happening.
I didn't even tell you. So the most amazing thing happened where I, for the longest time, have wanted a color laser jet. I've been saving up for it. I have this little, I've been using my Amazon rewards. I've been saving up to buy one because I wanted a color laser, not a color inkjet. They're but the brother ones on Amazon are $200. So I was just kind of socking a little, whatever. Some lady on Craigslist had an HP color laser jet printer from 2010, so it's 6 years old, for $30. So I messaged her. It was a month old, but I was like, I bet no one bought this because everyone's like, why am I going to buy a printer that's that old with no toner? And I was like, do you still have this? And she's like, yep. I'm like, we'll be in Bend Monday night. So we went over and we got it for $30, and I bought toner on Amazon, and we have Prime, so I actually got it shipped overnight. So I was able to replace just the black toner.
And that was for $17.
It was $17. But now, I'll do the toner cheap. I'll fill it myself and stuff. But so now I have a color printer, which I am going to ship it home to myself. It weighs a friggin' ton, but I wanted one. It's cheap. I'll send it to myself. We were able to use it. So we did all the Amazon stuff. We bought a bunch of books, and we bought a bunch of random other stuff. And we printed the labels because I brought labels with me because I figured we were going to do it. And so now we have a box that we can ship out.
Yeah, I mean, so we didn't have and so other than its printer, we did need some other things that we are going to make sure we have its next time. So we need a scale.
Scale.
And we have one. It's it's a
luggage scale.
Right. It's it would look like a fishing scale where you hang a fish from it.
Yeah.
Now you just can hang a box from it.
Now, the way you can hang a box, how do you hang a box?
Is with belts.
Well, we use both our belts. So we wrap the belts around the box and we hang it off the belt.
So we need a scale. We need a tape measure, which we didn't have.
So I bought a ruler at the thrift store for $1.
But a tape measure would be better. Tape.
I did bring tape.
Yep. And we actually bought, I don't know what you call it, but it's a roll of plastic.
It's like that saran wrap stuff.
So if you're making a bundle of something.
Which we did.
Yeah. And it's labels, and it's right.
Labels. I brought the labels. Yeah, it's crazy because you definitely need a printer. I mean, and you need a laser printer.
But it's interesting. I mean, again, part of this Amazon FBA thing is just an experiment. It's like a puzzle that we enjoy. While we're selling on eBay, it seems to be it's working out. While we've been here, we've been selling things on Amazon and doing pretty well, and we don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
they're
taking care of all of it.
It's awesome, and we've been able to find a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
and we're just gonna ship it from here.
Yep,
and we never have to think about it.
Yeah, again, it's great. So that's been fun, and we have a big 25-pound box of eBay stuff that we're sending home to ourselves as well.
Which we always do.
Which we do. We've been doing for a long time, doing that. Okay, let's talk about our numbers.
So our numbers is this week, it could be actually pretty decent or it could be actually pretty bad. And I'll tell you why. So in our main store, we sold about $1,100 worth of items.
Right, and at first that sounds amazing.
Right.
But
one of those things is someone made us an offer of $500 for a piece of jewelry.
Yeah.
And we accepted, but they have no feedback.
And they're in Russia.
Yeah. So it could be we actually made about $600.
Yeah. So we're waiting for this guy to pay.
Right.
We have very little confidence that he will pay, but he might.
But we have been selling more the end of the week. And this week is still better than our worst week, which was a couple of weeks ago. So,
right.
In our second eBay store, we sold about $250 worth of stuff. So
not bad.
That's not bad. So between those two stores, we did pretty decent for us, considering we're not
doing anything.
We
sold 2 things on Bonanza.
Yep. It's nice, and then I said on Amazon we made about $500 this week.
Yeah,
so that was good.
We're still figuring out the numbers.
A couple kind of interesting things we sold.
Yeah. One was a crystal Pepsi hat. So we went to this estate sale where someone had worked at a Pepsi bottling plant in D.C., and they had all this Pepsi stuff, and one of the things was a crystal Pepsi hat, and I put it up for $50, and I got a bunch of people giving me low offers, like, this isn't worth $50. But then someone bought it for $50, so
I didn't even know what Crystal Pepsi was. What is it? It was like a
clear Pepsi. It was like translucent Pepsi with no coloring. I think it only came out for like a year in like 1991 or something, and then Pepsi was like, nobody cares about this. It was, to me, it was like one of those things where they wanted to be all futuristic,
so
and nobody cared.
So it just tasted like Pepsi. It just didn't have the
it didn't have like the caramel coloring, because they add that brown coloring to it. So
it's not natural.
No.
So I mean, for people that ask us, because we get emails every month from people who are like, how are you selling your hats so cheap? Or, I just bought 100 hats, a box of 100 hats at a yard sale.
Right.
How much are they worth? I mean, this is a good example. Like, we knew that Crystal Pepsi was a weird
fad thing
that was not easy to find, and that there's going to be a small group of people that really want that thing and are willing to pay for it, so that's... And you just, it's just like a case by case basis,
right? Well, and like you could look at solds and see solds for $20, but for me, I was like, nope. I know there is a nerd out there who wants this, and this is going to be the only one left in about a month, and I'm going to get $50 for it, and I did. So
strange. So someone's going to walk around with a Crystal Pepsi hat.
It's the kids. Look, this is who it is. It's the kids. It's the kids who are born in the 90s. And they like all the 90s, like, paraphernalia. Because they're like, that's when they were... When I was in high school, it was cool because to us, like, bell-bottoms and, like, 70s stuff was cool. Because that's when we were born. Was in the 70s.
I mean, I don't sound like an old man, but the kids that were born right after 9/11
are, like, teenagers
They're just now starting to drive cars.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
Incredible.
It's really freaky. So
good for them. So have a Crystal Pepsi.
Have a Crystal Pepsi on me.
Okay, so a couple other things. We sold 2 scarves, a wool scarves. We sold them, in two different sales. People. And we made about it's $50 on them.
Now the weird thing about these scarves is we had a huge bin of scarves. We listed all of them. Tons of scarves.
That's been 100.
It must have been close to that.
We didn't sell a single one, and we just sold 2 of them and made $50.
It's so weird.
And those of you who see these things, wool scarves are often very easy to buy.
Yes.
And so, we always go back and forth, like, should we buy them? I mean, does
are they
anyone
worth
care?
it?
But, imagine that $50, like, that's incredible money.
Yeah.
When we're buying these things for 50 cents,
nothing.
if that. But it's another good example of, like, it's a little scarf pipeline.
It's a long tail item.
We put in all that work, so the scarves are there, and now over time, they will sell.
Now, these are scarves that are 100% wool, and a lot of them are tartan plaid, like either Pendleton or they're named tartan plaid with the clan on them. So those are higher end items that people look for.
I think those scarves are like one of those things where you have to be kind of like a scarf person,
Yeah.
Like, I don't use a scarf.
I do. I love scarves.
I mean, I can understand why they're useful. I just don't really think about them. It feels like it's an extra thing I've got to wear.
Oh no, I love scarves. I wear scarves even in the summertime. Not like wool scarves.
I'm like a hood guy. Like, put the hood on.
Yeah.
And then the last thing was, there's 2 more things.
Okay.
One is me and one is you.
Okay, you go first.
This is all me.
Yeah.
We were in Amsterdam last year.
Yeah.
And I bought a Boy Scout, like a vintage Boy Scouts, like a
hat.
Yeah, it's like the man scout.
Is it a Scout Master hat? Do they have scouts in Amsterdam? Why was it there? Probably. So random.
I don't know, but so it's wool, and the reason why I bought it was at the time. There was that guy that was wearing them.
Farrell. Now, Farrell was wearing like an exaggerated like designer version where the top was really tall. But it was basically a scout hat.
And I basically spent about $10 or $15 on it, which is a lot, but I knew I wanted to put a high price on it.
Right.
And we just sold it for $125.
That was a good sale.
So think about it. We're in Amsterdam. We buy this like kind of fragile wool hat. I can't just jam it into a bag. And you know what I did? I wore it all the way home. So I had on like a Scoutmaster hat on the plane.
Let me just say, I don't think you wore it while you were sitting in your seat.
No,
I think
but-
you popped it up
Sure.
top or under the seat in front
But
of you.
it was a part of my style for that day.
It was definitely on you when you got on the plane.
So people probably thought I was super hip.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I found a little iPod Nano. It's like one of those little, bite-sized iPods. The screen was completely broken.
Shattered.
It was shattered. So I'm sure that's why it was like cost almost nothing. Nobody cared. I don't know how much I bought it for, but my thing was, I knew that I could fix the screen because I'd seen things on YouTube for fixing iPhone screens, and the Nano is actually really easier to fix. So I think I bought a new screen for like $10. I think I've had this for like 8 months or something, listed for about 8 months. And it finally sold for $90.
And I gotta say, that is just, you always amaze me. The fact that this was something that you just kind of did on it's your own.
It's kind of a fun project.
I
was like, I'm going to fix this and I'm going to sell it.
So is it easy to do?
Yeah, the thing about like iPhones and iPads and like iPod Nanos, they're just, honestly, the glass screen is just glued on. So what you do is you take like a hair dryer and you go around the edges and you have this little lift tool, or you can use a razor blade, and you just take the adhesive off. It's just glued. It's very strong adhesive, obviously. It's not coming off unless you're like scraping it off. And then you get the new replacement one, you plug it in because it has like the little cords, and then you pull the sticker stuff off and you stick it on there.
Cool.
It's kind of a pain in the butt.
And that can be for an iPhone too?
Yeah, that's how I'm pretty sure that's how they change an iPhone too. But I'm sure the screen costs, a good price.
Yeah, the guys that we've had a couple of people email us because we've talked about having difficulty selling electronics on Amazon. Because most of the electronics we find are used, and sometimes it's hard to test.
Yeah.
And they just say the only way to do it is that you have to become an electronics expert, where you're able to change screens or test or do all the things that you need to do that.
Yeah. So customer issues. So this morning we woke up to a neutral feedback.
So it was going to be like we had no problem.
Yeah, but now we just had to type this up on the outline. So we got a neutral feedback, and the buyer actually cursed in the feedback.
Well, basically, he said what?
He said, it's kind of funny what he said. He's like, these were raggedy ass shirts.
Yeah, we sold 4. They were like 4 shirts that had a name patch on them that were worn by a guy that worked in like
he was like a mechanic or something.
Mechanic, and we've sold these many times before, and we're very clear.
They're used. They have
distress
wear.
because there are guys that they like that look. They want to. They actually don't do work, but they want to look like they work.
Yeah.
No,
It's true. Like, I doubt this guy works at a mechanic shop.
So anyway, Ryan called, and she was able to get eBay to actually take away what he wrote.
The comment.
So the neutral feedbacks is there, but what it says is eBay had removed this for policy violation. So it actually looks almost weirder because you're like, well, what's going on?
Well,
and we can't reply
to it. We can't respond to it. So Jay and I got in a nice little fight during breakfast time because this is what's going to happen. If I want to get that removed, I'm going to call eBay, and this is guaranteed, they're going to say this: you need to reach out to your customer and offer a refund, even though you have refunds totally, on your site.
And the problem is that we've done this before. We try and contact the buyer, like, hey, we'll take the thing back. We have never had a person contact us back. And then when you call eBay again and said, I tried it, but they didn't do anything, eBay then always says, well, they have a right to their opinion.
Right.
Yeah. So I know that there are some people out there that are really good at getting feedback. It's removed, like Dan actually.
I'm pretty good at it, but there are people who are better.
But like Dan actually calls people like, you just bought something. Can I,
Yes,
I'm just like, I'm not
I don't
sure.
even want to go there.
So we're actually going to try to call, I think.
I'm going to try and call again because I feel like it's weird that eBay would remove the comment but not remove the neutral. But I understand why.
But, in the end, like as we've said, these things happen. I know some people are awesome and they have no neutral and no negative feedback, and they never have, and that's awesome. we've just found like those kind of things do happen, and I just want to remind anyone hearing this that hasn't sold a whole lot that it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Now it is if you're just starting out and this is starting to happen where you're getting bad feedback early on and a lot of it, then you got to see how you're doing things.
Yeah.
But we sell a lot, and we every so often just hit that grumpy buyer, and it doesn't stop our store from selling.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, it sucks, but neutral. What can you do?
Yeah. Okay, so some things we learned in the comments, or things that people have told us. Number one is Brad.
Yes, our friend Brad. He's a scavenger.
He has sent us some photos. He stores stuff in file cabinets.
Yeah, like tall filing cabinets that have like 5 or 6 compartments.
So he says that, and he's right. I see them too. When you go to yard sales or estate sales, someone's going to have a tall steel file cabinet that you can basically buy for super cheap, or they're just giving them away because no one wants them.
Nobody wants them.
And he showed us his picture. Instead of having shelves with plastic bins like a lot of us do, he just has rows of these things, and it's great because then you can just label each drawer.
1, 2, 3,
pull
4,
it out,
5.
pick what you want, put it back in.
So he knows where everything is.
It's smart.
Yeah, it was really cool. Also, we got an email from Zachariah, and he told us that now eBay does have their packaging store open.
So he sends the link, which we will put on our blog.
Yeah.
But eBay is now going to do that thing where if you have a subscription, they're going to give you a coupon that you can then buy eBay branded shipping supplies.
Like tape. Now tape is the big one.
So you can buy this stuff now on eBay.
Yeah.
Through eBay.
Yeah.
You can buy 6 rolls of 75 yards each for $12
with free shipping.
Free shipping.
Now, at Walmart, this is the cheapest tape I've found. Walmart, you can buy 4 rolls of 100-yard tape for like $7.88 or $7.84 or whatever. And it's basically, we did the calculations and the price is almost the same.
I mean, the Walmart price is just a little bit cheaper. But this is the thing. So we have an Anchor subscription. We're supposedly going to get a $75 coupon every quarter. So that's every 3 months. So that means we could buy 36 rolls of tape every 3 months.
I mean, I'm hoping that the coupon's not like you get $75 and you have to buy 4 different things. Like, I just want to stock up on tape. Like, tape.
Well, I mean, what I was thinking was, we would never use 36 rolls every 3 months.
Yeah, no.
I mean, what, don't you go through like 4 rolls every 2 months or something?
I would say it might even be like 2 rolls every 2 months, depending.
I mean, so I'm thinking if we really got $75 is worth of just shipping stuff, they also have poly mailers, like eBay poly mailers.
They have bubble mailers.
Yeah. I mean, they have boxes, but we don't really need boxes.
But I should, Jay's like asking me, how much do you pay for poly mailers? Every shipping nerd knows the answer is that it depends on the size of the poly mailer and it depends on the quantity. Okay, so he throws out this random size.
15 by 8.
15 by 8. Okay, first of all, that's not a size that you can buy. And it depends on the quantity. Well, how much? I can't remember.
Right.
So basically I have to compare the prices with EcoSpec.
So if anyone knows, this is what its question is. When they give us the coupon, will it be you can just buy $75 worth of stuff and not have to buy anything?
Right.
Or will it be like, for every, you got to buy
everything
$100.
you spend, you get $10 off. Yeah, like
some kind of funny thing like that.
I have a feeling it's going to be. But honestly, if they gave us a $75 coupon to shop in their packaging store, awesome. That'd be so cool. I would definitely use that.
Poly mailers.
Tape and poly mailers, for sure. And I mean, they say eBay on them, and that's actually kind of cool. I feel like they're wanting to brand it so everyone sees you're buying. Because check it out, Amazon. I mean, walk down the street in any neighborhood, and there are Amazon boxes in the recycling. Amazon. I'm
looking at one right now.
Yeah, like there's one we found in the trash. I mean, they're everywhere. That is advertising. Okay. It sounds crazy, but it is.
Okay. I have a new topic. Is everyone prepared?
Yes.
I'm going back in time.
Okay.
So we're talking about we had this pile of stuff and we had to mail it in, and we talked about all the stuff. We got the printer.
Yeah.
One thing we needed were boxes.
Yes.
So obviously what we could do is just go somewhere and buy some boxes.
Right.
They aren't that much money.
But would we do that? No, we wouldn't.
So what we did was we just went downtown. We went to a brewery.
Yeah.
Ryan had a nice, delicious beer.
Yes.
I had a delicious cold brew coffee.
Yes.
And then we just took a walk in the alleyways behind the businesses, and within 2 minutes had the most beautiful double-walled cardboard boxes.
More boxes than we even needed.
And just walked home with them.
I mean,
we're ready to run a full-on business here, you know? So
yeah, seriously.
I've talked about it before, like when we go and stay in it's New York, and you walk downtown, and there's just boxes of boxes
everywhere.
I feel like someone could run a box business, like a used box business.
I want that business to exist, especially in Manhattan, because there are just amazing clean boxes. Just they got something on Amazon, they took it out, they put it on the curb,
and now it's just going to go to the trash. I guess.
So they recycle. I
think the reason, but it's still like But they're taking something good and they probably pulp it and then make it into toilet paper.
Yeah,
but it's just. I guess the problem is how do you get the boxes to the people that want to buy them?
Right.
Then you have to pay to ship
them. Yeah, but it's so crazy if you live in Manhattan and you're like, I need a moving box, and it costs $4 at the Container Store. $4. Or whatever,
People pay a lot of money for boxes like a U-Haul or wherever.
Yep, exactly. So there are boxes everywhere.
So that's $1 million idea I'm giving to you.
For free. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so our coming week... is basically we're in Bend here till Wednesday, and then we fly out of Seattle, and we will be flying to New Orleans. Yep,
and we're there for 3 nights before our job starts, which is kind of nice.
So we have another 2 weeks on this trip. Part of it is still going to be like enjoyment vacation, and part of it will be work. Okay, so let's answer some questions. We actually have 2 weeks of calls, so let's get to it.
Yeah, you can call us on our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Hey guys, it's Gary. Called in quite a few times before. Just wanted to, not a question, but a tip that, someone like me, I don't even have a year in yet, but it's something that I just had happen to me last week, and it's something that I never thought of until it happened, but just a tip maybe if there's other new resellers out there. But I sold an item. It cost $150, and I bought insurance on it, shipped it, and when it got there, it was broken, and it was cracked down the middle. The buyer was really upset. She thought that the packaging wasn't right, but I sold about 5 of these things, and they were all packaged the same, and nothing ever happened before, so it was obviously damaged in shipping. Well, I filed a claim for it, and got her money back. She was happy about that. Everything was fine. I didn't get a negative feedback or anything. But what I should have done was bought insurance for the cost, and then added my profit on top of that, so that in case something like that happens, I wouldn't be out any money. So just a tip to people who are selling, you might want to include your profit. And I don't even know if you can do that. It's just something I thought about after the fact. But if you can, it would probably be a good idea to add the profit onto the insurance that you buy in case, something is damaged in the mail when it gets to your customer, so you're completely covered. I didn't get a negative feedback on it, but, I lost my profit on it as well. So just something I thought I would throw out there. Thanks for everything. You guys helped me get so many listings done by listening to your podcast. Please keep it up. Thanks. Hey guys, it's Gary again. I realized I said profit. I meant shipping, to cover my shipping. I only had the insurance on what the buyer paid for the item, and I didn't include the extra for the shipping. That's what I meant. Sorry for the confusion. Thanks.
Okay, so he meant shipping, not profit, because clearly you're going to insure for the profit because you sold it for $150, and that includes your profit and your buying price. So the thing is, USPS will not allow you to cover shipping costs. They just cover the price of the item. ShipSaver, however, does allow you to. So you make that decision for what you're gonna.
Have you found that a one is better than the other to giving your money back?
Nope. I've had equal
goodness.
Equal goodness. Yeah.
Okay. So when would you pick?
Okay. If I send something, here's the deal.
Break it down for me.
If you're sending something priority and you're a top rated seller, you get $100 worth of priority included. That does not include the shipping, unless you did free shipping. If I sold something for $70, you get $70 insurance through USPS. And that's what I choose because it's free. If it's over that, I do ShipSaver. That's my rule. And with a ShipSaver, would you do what he says and include the cost of the... Yeah, it automatically does it on ShipSaver. Okay. Like, okay, you sold something for $10, shipping was $5, they're automatically doing $15 insurance. That's how they work, which is great.
Cool.
But they include that in the price of what you pay. I mean, you pay more if it's over, a certain amount. So
I like you guys and I like your ideas.
Okay, let's go.
Hi guys, I love your podcast. I have a quick question. I found a Macintosh computer's vintage advertising sign that lights up. There's only one other one listed on eBay. Mine isn't up yet. I have a question about underselling. I mean, the only one that's up there has a huge chip out of the corner of it. It's a glass sign, and they want like $3,000 for it. It's not really getting much action besides a few watchers, and I personally think that that's a lot of money to ask for something that's broken. So what would you do in terms of pricing? Mine isn't broken, and I don't want to undersell it so badly that I, upset the system, but I also want to sell it and see a return on my investment. Anyways, any wisdom you have would be appreciated, and thanks so much. I love listening to you up here in Canada. Bye.
Okay, first of all, thanks for calling. We're very excited about this.
I wish I had found that.
Yeah. So number one is, when something is this kind of rare and there's only one person that has it up and they have a certain price on it, like that's not enough information to peg your price.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just their price,
Right.
So the question is if yours is in better shape,
right.
Maybe it's worth more,
So put a high price on it and make an offer and see what comes in.
I mean, the other thing is that it does matter how vintage it is. Like, are we talking like from the 80s? Because that has a certain look. Or are we talking like 2001?
Yeah, right.
So it really will depend on what style of Apple thing it is.
Yeah, I would love to know. I would love to see a photo. I would love for you to email me a photo.
The other thing too is you can't have it both ways. You really can't have something sell for a whole lot really fast. I mean,
maybe.
I don't mean to say that. I think you're just asking for a lot to happen all at the same time.
Right.
I think if you're just trying to sell it fast, you'll probably make good profit on it.
Yeah.
But you might not get as much as you could get if you were to be patient
and wait.
Put a really high price on and you got to wait for offers to start coming in.
Right.
Or what some people do is they say put it on auction and then just be happy with what you get from that auction.
Yeah.
So really, it's what a level of patience.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Melissa. I have only been selling on eBay for a couple months now, and your podcasts and videos have been very helpful. So thank you for sharing your experience and knowledge. My question for you is on USPS regional rate shipping. Have you guys ever used it before? Do you know how it works? I thought that you could only use it to ship to a zip code that has the same first three numbers as your zip code. But I wasn't sure if you guys knew anything on that. I've heard that the rates are really great, so I'm kind of interested to know if anybody's used it before and if it's worth looking into. So thanks again, and I love the show. Bye.
Okay, so regional rate, yes, I use it occasionally, and the only way you can use it, you can't offer it to people on eBay as a choice. I'm not sure why, but you can't. But when you do the drop-down menu, when you're doing the eBay labels and you're like, compare prices, if you have like a 2-pound box and it costs $8, and then you look at regional rate A and it's like $6.50, I'm choosing regional rate A if it fits in that box. That's how I do it. That's pretty much it.
End of story.
End of story.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. This is Joyce from Ohio. I know there had been some discussion on your forum about is there any benefit to cancel a listing after it's been viewed 50 or 75 times? Does it bump up the ratings at all? I trialed it for a little while and didn't see any difference, and I believe that you guys were trialing it as well. And I wondered if you're still doing that or if you see any benefit at all to canceling your listing and relisting it after it's had X number of views. Supposedly that bounces it down in the ratings or something, the search engine. So I'd appreciate your addressing that again. Thank you. Bye.
No, we see no benefit at all to ending listings and restarting them.
Yeah.
Period. We don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like I feel like we've been talking about this for really 4, 5, 8 years now. And someone new always comes on and they're like, oh, I found this thing where if you, end your listings every 30 days and re-list them, you get extra eBay juice, and I'm selling more.
Juice.
I mean, I don't know. We've never actually seen real consistent numbers where like I didn't do it for a year and I sold, X amount, and then I did it for a year and I sold X amount. I mean, it's got to be consistent over a number of months.
Okay, that's it for the podcast today. You can check out the blog for links we discuss and to join the conversation. That's at scavengerlife.com. You can leave a question or a comment on something you heard. Again, the phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Sunday night or Monday morning. On Wednesday, when we're not traveling, we post our What Sells videos. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube so you always get the latest episode. If you're interested in hearing about our Airbnb business and travels, you can listen to our other podcast, shampooandbooze.com. We just posted an episode there. And that's it. We are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Bye.